pricing will define your sales and marketing model. This is how millionaires think. This is millionaire maths. Every business in our space that is successful has more than one product. Smaller promises get faster decisions. Opt in for this free gift. Small promise, fast decision. Hey, buy this product, $100. Monthly recurring revenue. And I gotta say, this is where the money lives. Here's some business advice that's super obvious once you know it. How you price your product or service is going to define your sales and marketing model. So, for example, what you sell, is it little ticket or big ticket? Now, this is a very ambiguous question. Is what you sell little ticket or big ticket? I've seen people on the interwebs all the time saying, oh, what I sell is big ticket. And then someone says, how much is it? And they drop a price and they say, that's not big ticket. What I sell is big ticket. Well, at this particular point in time, I have found that there is a very clear and defined inflection point between little ticket and big ticket. Are you ready? It's around $1,600. And anything less than that is little ticket. And anything bigger than that is big ticket. Why? Well, when you're selling something that's above $1,600, the sales model changes. Yes, the sales and marketing model will change dependent on your pricing model. And that is because anything over around $1,600 at this particular point in time in the evolution of technology and business, when a sale is around $1,600, it's going to require a meeting. A conversation of some type, a bit of back and forth. Not always. We've sold things $10,000 and beyond without having a meeting. But most people, if they're going to spend around $1,600 or more, are going to require some sort of conversation between two human beings. I also know that there are people selling something that's complex for under $1,600 that does require a meeting. And this is where things get problematic, because if you are selling something and it requires a meeting, you really need to be pricing it above this $1,600 price point, or the economies of scale just don't stack up. So if you're selling something for $300 and it requires a phone call or a Zoom call every time, this is fine when you're just the business owner and you have a conversation and you sell it for $300 and you get on with the rest of your day. But as your business grows, if you're selling something for $300 that requires a phone conversation, at some point, other people are going to have those conversations for you. And if they're having those conversations for you, they might only close 1 in every 4 people that they speak with, which means that it's taking them 4 conversations to sign 1 person for $300, which means that if you're paying them, I don't know, $75 an hour because they're good at their job, you're making no money at all. So there is this inflection point, which is around $1,600. If you're selling something that's less than $1,600, you should not be running sales meetings. If it's over $1,600, you can get away with that, which is why we have this thing here. This is our B2B product ecosystem, and it acknowledges that your customers and clients are going through a process. They actually start off as a stranger. This is the buying cycle. They start off as a stranger, then they become a suspect. After they become a suspect, they move into the prospect zone before they become a client. Now, at each of these different stages, the people that you are working with and going to be working with as your clients, they're in a different mental state at each of these different stages. A stranger is most likely worrying about a bunch of headaches that they have. They're not fully clear on what it is that you do or what you're about. A suspect, all they see are the obstacles. And you'll know this because suspects are suspicious. These are the people that say, oh, how do I know that it's going to work for me, right? Prospects, we're starting to talk about aspirations. They're starting to see that they could get an outcome from what it is that you're doing. And then clients, we can talk about the full breadth of their desires. What I see is a whole lot of people talking to everyone as if they are a prospect or a client. They're coming in and they're talking about aspirations and desires. And this little person over here is going, I haven't even been able to join the dots. I don't understand how what you do fixes the headache that I have. Or they're over here going, yeah, listen, I've heard about this stuff before and I don't believe it's going to work out for me. So if that's the case, and if we can acknowledge this, why don't we use this to our advantage? and pull together a bunch of different products and services that reflect the mindset at each of these stages and at a specific price point to match what people are thinking and are willing to pay for at each of these stages. So if it's a stranger that we're dealing with, why don't we give them a gift? And the gift that we are going to sell them could be something as simple as a lead magnet, a free resource, a membership to your group, something like that, a checklist, a roadmap, a framework. And the price for this particular gift is data. First name, last name, email address, that type of thing. And what you'll notice is that the best lead magnets talk about the headaches that your customers and clients have before they know they need you. So as an example, I remember many, many years ago, I was talking to a potential client and they said, James, can you give me some advice about how to get more leads from trade shows? And I wanted to say, well, number one, don't bother with trade shows. There are faster, cheaper, easier ways to get leads. But instead, I pulled together a resource, how to get leads from trade shows. And I pulled that resource because it was a headache that our customers and clients have before they know they need us. Then they could come into our world and I could say, hey, there are smarter ways than doing trade shows. So strangers have headaches. Suspects are suspicious, so they see the obstacles. Now, you'll see this acronym here, P4S. That stands for product for suspects, product for suspects. So we want to sell something that's probably going to take up less than an hour of their time. And if something is going to take up an hour of their time, 1 hour of their time is about $100. Have a think about it this way. If you're going to sell a webinar, that's going to go for about an hour, charge $100. If you're going to sell a short course that's going to take up an hour of someone's time, sell it for $100. This is a really easy price point for your customers and clients to wrap their head around. Also imagine this. If you wanted to sell a meeting at this particular stage as a product, frame your meeting as a particular product, again, you could charge $100 for an hour, or you could just sell the hour because your customers and clients might not have a lot of time and they might view their hour as more valuable than $100. So I talk about $100 in an hour as a way for us to think about pricing at this particular level. Sell something for $100 that's going to take an hour, or come up with something that's $100 and price it at an hour, if that makes sense to you. All right. So at this particular point, a stranger has a headache. We solve that problem by selling them something for their first name, last name, email address, and maybe a phone number. Then we introduce them to a framework that's going to help them overcome their obstacles, a roadmap, and that can be run as a strategy call or it could be sold as a product. Then we move into the prospect zone. And at the prospect zone, a lot of people are stuck either trying to sell something small, $300 thing, a $900 thing, and they've got the model wrong, when this could indeed be a $900 thing or a $300 thing sold off the back of a webinar or a video or something like that. At the prospect zone, that's the first mistake. The second mistake is that people often try to sell what are classic continuity products. Continuity products are MRR, monthly recurring revenue. And I got to say, this is where the money lives, monthly recurring revenue products. But it's really hard to sell a monthly recurring revenue product. It's like asking someone to marry you. Yeah, asking a stranger to marry you. Now, if you're asking a stranger to marry you on the first date, that is really, really hard. But however, if someone's gone through this process and they've gone from a stranger to a suspect to a prospect, and then they've become a client, after somebody has become a client, then let's sell them a continuity product, which is why we've got this piece in the middle called the HNB, the high no brainer. Now, this is some sort of standalone version of your product or service. Now, some people only have a standalone version of their product or service. It's one and it's done. And that's not helpful either. Because if you've got only one version of your product or service, which is one and done, it means that you're constantly on the hunt for new customers and clients. But if you have an MRR product that you can sell off the back of your one and done type of product or service, that means you can have a scalable business. So if we're at the prospect zone, we can sell aspirations. But get this, write this down. Smaller promises get faster decisions. At the stranger stage, opt in for this free gift. Small promise, fast decision. Suspect stage, hey, buy this product, $100. Book a meeting, 1 hour of your time. Smaller promises, faster decisions. Now, at this particular stage, the prospect, a high no-brainer, is usually a single outcome-focused standalone product that tackles some sort of thing that the person wants an outcome to, which is why we're talking about aspirations. Now, at this particular point, you can sell your thing, which is $1,600, $3,600, $4,800, $10,000, whatever it's going to be. But we want to make it stand alone. And it's called a high no-brainer because it's a high price. The person has to think about it, but it's also a no-brainer because they're paying for an outcome that's specific to them. We're tackling an aspiration. So we go from a stranger to a suspect to a prospect to a client, where we sell headaches, obstacles, aspirations, and desires. We sell a gift for first name, last name, email address, phone number. We sell a product for suspects or a meeting for $100 or an hour of somebody's time. Then we can have that strategy call where we sell something for $1,600, $3,000, $5,000, and then we can introduce our monthly recurring revenue product, because this is how millionaires think. This is millionaire maths. This is what a lot of people think. They go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a $27 product, and that's how I'm going to get to $1 million. Now, I'm just going to, for the sake of making things easy, I'm going to make this a $100 product. So this here is classic low ticket, classic $27 to $100. So this would be in the product for suspects stage. Now, if I want to get to $1 million, right, and I'm selling a $100 product, I have to sell 10,000 units to get to $1 million. Now, I've been in business for 20 years now, and I've done a lot of stuff. I've sold magazines. My first big business was a print magazine made of paper and ink. Sold that in newsagents across Australia and throughout the world. I've done consulting. I've run a SaaS business. And of course, sales and marketing training. Selling 10,000 units of anything is really hard. Even the most established, successful entrepreneurs that you've ever met, most of them haven't done that. So the poor person mindset is that I would only spend $27 or I'd only spend $100. So I'm going to produce something that's $100 and I'm going to sell it. And it takes a long time to sell 10,000 units. So the millionaire says, okay, well, if that's the case, what I should probably be doing is I should probably be selling something for $1,000. Because if I sell something for $1,000 or indeed $2,000, I don't need to sell 10,000 units. I only need to sell 1,000 units. Or indeed, if it's a 2K thing, I only have to sell 500 units. 500 times 2K. No, I'm just so bad at maths, which is why I do exercises like this, because I'm teaching and I'm training myself at the same time as everybody else. All right, let's have a look at this. 2,000 times 500 equals $1 million. I had it right. So you think it's easier to sell 500 of one thing or 10,000 one thing? You know, it's easier to sell something for $2,000 500 times rather than it is to sell something that's 110,000 times. But however, this is not where the real money is made. I said it before. The real money is made in the MRR product. So imagine for a second that you have a 1K product that you sell monthly. So that there is times 12. But if you have a 1K product and you have 100 people buying your 1K product, that there equals 100K. And then, of course, you're selling that 1K product 12 times a year because it's monthly recurring revenue. Times 12 equals $1.2 million. So if we want to create a $1 million business that's easy to run, as I said, the money is in the MRR, the monthly recurring revenue. 100 people spending 1K a month works out to be $1 million a year. But however, as I said before, MRR is super duper hard, which is why we have the product ecosystem. Indeed, every business in our space that is successful has more than one product. They have one, a product for a stranger, which is a gift. Number two, they have a product for a suspect, which is a product for suspects. Number three, they have a high no-brainer for prospects. And number four, they have their monthly recurring revenue product. If you're struggling with this type of stuff, or as I broke it down, you've gone, okay, well, I've got one of those pieces right, or two of those pieces right, or even three of those pieces right, and you'd just like to flesh this out with a fellow human being, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go to b2bschool.co/options. Go to /options. There's going to be something there. And if you can go through the steps on that particular page, we're going to explain to you what we think are the best options for you in your circumstances, in your situation, in your circumstances right now. So that, guys and gals, was some business advice that's super obvious once you know it. Pricing will define your sales and marketing model. If you're selling something that's big ticket, you're going to have a meeting. If you're selling something that's little ticket, you're probably going to need other ways to sell what it is that you do using volume. If you are small or you're starting out and you don't have much of a budget, it's really difficult to get the volume. So what you'll need to be able to do then is have some sort of mix of products, a product ecosystem. Coolest thing is when you have a product ecosystem, from a gift to a product for suspects, to a high no-brainer, to a continuity product, you can have a mix of products and services for each stage in the buying cycle, and also at each level of income that your customers and clients have. But don't forget, at the end of the day, it's really, really hard to sell 10,000 units of a $100 product. It's much easier to sell 500 units of a 2K product, or even maybe 100 units of a 2K product, followed by 100 people signing up for a monthly recurring revenue product at $1,000 a month. That, guys and gals, is something that I call a game changer lesson. It's going to be something I'm going to be doing a lot next year. If you liked it, let me know. And I'm going to do more of these fast and furious training sessions.
If you want to shortcut some of the tactics and strategies you're learning today, make sure you unlock our B2B client acquisition toolbox for free. It has over 20 guides and resources, calculators and templates to jumpstart your next B2B client acquisition campaign. Go to b2bschool.co/podcast. Go to that place to get the good stuff.